Perfect Cocktail Pursuits is an entertaining, behind-the-scenes peek at cocktail culture. Since 2010, I've traveled the globe pursuing the perfect cocktail. I showcase the creative excellence of this exciting industry. Welcome to Perfect Cocktail Pursuits. My name is Rosalina Africano, and I'm your host. Today, my special guest is Hoby Wedler. It's a delight to have you on Perfect Cocktail Pursuits. Thank you for joining us.
Selena, thank you so much for this invitation. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here too.
Fun.
So before we start, Perfect Cocktail Pursuits always starts with a cocktail.
Well, let's do it.
Today I haven't been making any cocktails. I've been drinking Sorel on ice. Yeah. So cheers.
I'm drinking Sorel neat. Cheers to you. Man. Smells like what I've been working on for a long time. I love it.
Well, you've led me right into our next conversation. So the reason that Sorel is presented in front of us is because, first of all, we want to acknowledge that we were at the Black House. And the Black House is by Sorel at Tails Up the Cocktail. And Jack from Brooklyn, Jackie Summers, he has been so generous to offer space to Perfect Cocktail Pursuits to conduct interviews. And that's been such a fantastic opportunity for me to meet new people, find people who are interested in interviewing and promoting their brands, because that's what I do.
There you go.
And what you do, would you please tell me what you do for a living? What's your job?
That's a great question. I'm still trying to answer it myself, Rosalina. I really appreciate that question. So I was born totally blind. I've never seen anything in the light. I've never drank in the light, but I've enjoyed it all in the dark so much because that's kind of what my life is. Like I don't have eyesight. I was born without it, and I would never trade this for anything. I don't want to see anything because I'd have to relearn the world and relearn how I do things if I ever had eyesight. And what I would say for me, for Sorel, I'm a product development expert. I'm a food scientist.
Yes.
I'm a sensory expert. I'm also a weirdo because I'm a PhD organic chemist, but I'm a storyteller and lover of explaining things to people in the best possible way and most eloquent possible way that makes them understand and ultimately makes them buy. I'm also the founder of Tasting in the Dark, which is a truly blind wine, beer, or spirits tasting experience that we did today.
We did that today.
And, we had a good time doing it. But what I would say here, just most importantly to me, is that, my parents had me. They didn't know I was going to be blind. And then my sighted brother, who's 2 years older. And they taught both of us the same things. They've done many things for us, and I still love them. They're totally still with us. But one of the biggest things they taught me is that, number one, they never lowered the bar. They always had super high expectations of me and what I can do and what I should be able to do. And in that, they taught me there's no substitute for extremely hard work in life, right? And number two, it was all about if you take responsibility for yourself, you will celebrate what you win at, and you'll celebrate what you do. And when you fail, you'll figure it out and fix it next time. So you can't give anyone else the blame or the credit for the things that you do. And they taught us to take responsibility for our own lives. And that was an incredible opportunity for me. And when I was 8 years old, for my birthday, they bought me a 42-quart soup pot and said, "Kid, you're going to make soup for us. And we're going to take it to work with us. We're going to freeze it. We're going to take it to work in small aliquots. And we're going to serve it as weeknight easy dinners at home." I said, okay. What I didn't realize when I was 8 years old, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever, when I was making soup, is that I was figuring out what would become my life, which is understanding flavor and connecting with flavor. And I didn't realize that when I taste something like Sorel, beautiful smell of hibiscus and clove and everything that's in there, I can literally see a picture. That picture right now in my mind is of flowers, of fruit, of meat, of food, of a landscape of the tropics with beautiful green trees, green shrubbery, green bushes all the way around.
All full of life.
Human air.
Yes.
Full of life. And when I started cooking at 8 years old, I didn't realize that I was really painting my pictures. So when my brother was a kid and drew and painted, I cooked. And it was the same thing. But I didn't realize it until many years later. Sorry if that was a lot.
It wasn't a lot. It was an interesting story. It's really interesting to chat with you because I've been talking about Sorel since last year. Jack from Brooklyn, Jackie Summers, he was one of the first people that I interviewed for Perfect Cocktail Pursuits.
Really?
And he explained his brand, talked about its history, talked about all the botanicals that were in it. And we had a really lovely conversation and connection about what it feels like to drink his drink because it reminds you of food and
And home.
family and home and your ancestors.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of being alive. It reminds me of feeling that sense of belonging. One of the things that we want in the diversity, equity, and inclusion world all the time is a sense of belonging, a sense of home, a sense of being where we are, right? And for me, Sorel gives me that every step of the way. Like it makes me feel like I'm home when I taste it. And it's funny because whether you're Scandinavian and you like something called glögg wine, which my partner drinks with his family every Christmas, and I drink it with him.
And there's Glühwein in Germany
Glühwein, yeah.
that I enjoy around the holidays, and it's hot and it helps to warm your body in the ice cold air, right?
And you can heat Sorel up and do the same thing.
That's cool.
And that's a funny thing that we're not doing on this interview today, but one of my favorite things to do is to cook Sorel a little bit in a pot and create that just delightful aroma. Sorel right now tastes to me like flowers at room temperature, a lot of flowers, a lot of fruit, a lot of those nice botanicals. But when you heat it up, you exude the botanicals that sort of overpower the fruit a little bit, and it becomes this amazing tea that you can drink and enjoy.
Right. I had the great benefit of going to, may I call you Hoby?
Yeah.
I had the great benefit of going to Hoby's seminar today, and it was called Tasting in the Dark. And we have in front of us a whole series of botanicals that are actually in Sorel. And we did a blind taste testing with a wonderful eye mask that I look forward to wearing on an airplane, actually. And we opened each container, which I brought back from the seminar because I thought it would be perfect to do on camera, right? And I brought back the placemat, and what this shows is a flavor wheel. And then there's also 4 spots for the tasting that we did. So we tasted at room temperature and heated.
Warm, and we tasted a PB&J shot, which was really fun.
Which is a wonderful, strange, and wonderful shot. It was like peanut butter.
Right, screwball peanut butter whiskey and Sorel half and half. And it's funny. If any of you want to try this, let me know and come hang out with me and I'll make it for you. Or just find some screwball and find some Sorel and mix them 50-50. And it's amazing because you get this crazy component of just true, the bread comes from the sort of toastiness of the peanuts. And the peanut butter and the jelly, I kind of joked during the seminar, we could, if parents would let us, we'd sell it in elementary school. I don't know how I'll be seen if I say that. So we'll see what we can do there. The other thing that we did,
I think the last one was like a cocktail. Yeah. What bar was that featured from?
That was I don't know what bar. It was somewhere here in New Orleans, but it was a a drink called the steel hibiscus. And this steel hibiscus utilizes gin and lime juice and sorrel and a few other ingredients. And it becomes this amazing tropical paradise of a drink that smells like passion fruit and guava and all this amazing stuff. So
Right.
what we're going to do right now, if you don't mind,
I'd love to.
Rosalina, is I'll just walk you through the botanicals of sorrel.
Sounds great.
So we'll taste a little bit of each one as we go.
So I saw you shake it up.
So, sorry. What we'll do first is we'll shake these up.
Okay.
So because what we're doing is we're expressing the volatilization, the volatiles of the product, whatever's in this cup.
Volatilization is a 25-cent word.
Between the level of the cup and where it is in the cup and then the lid, take it off and smell.
Okay, that sounds great.
So you can see right now, you can see this is a hibiscus flower, right?
Yeah, that is a hibiscus flower.
What
It's
do you
a
smell?
dried one. I smell dark red fruit, plums.
Go ahead and blow on the fruit, on the flower. Some moisture.
It does release moisture.
Yeah, and you can smell as it releases the moisture that you blow on it. A lot more dried fruit.
Right.
Or apricot.
Right.
Pear. I smell dried apple, dried pear.
You have a really, really sensitive nose.
A little bit of chrysanthemum.
Right?
Yeah, a little bit of currant and cassis.
That's a lot of different ingredients in those aromas.
I'm going to pull a little piece off here.
Yeah?
You can do it if you want.
Okay.
You don't have to, but I'm going to taste a little piece of hibiscus.
Okay, I'm going to do it too.
And one of the things, when you chew on hibiscus,
It's hard.
So crazy.
It's hard to pull apart.
It's a little bit hard to pull apart. But when you pull it apart, chew on it, there's so much vitamin C there.
I taste lime.
It's
When
lime,
you taste
but
it.
you taste how sour it is.
Yeah, it's sour.
It's super sour. That's vitamin C. This is
I had no idea that vitamin C tasted sour.
right. It's amazing. This is the best source of vitamin C you can have. It's even stronger than oranges or lemons. It's a natural aphrodisiac. Got a lot of great flavor. Got a lot of great, medicinal properties in terms of anti-inflammatories.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a nice product. So
the first ingredient in Sorel is hibiscus. All right.
Hibiscus is a lot of it, over 75%.
So that sounds like a bean almost.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a base, a lot going on there. Let's take our top off.
Okay.
Whoa, earthy.
Yeah, I get earthy.
Like crazy earthy.
Peppery?
Yep. Little black pepper.
A little white pepper too.
White pepper is totally there. And
yeah.
White pepper is what I call Bordeaux barnyard. That's what I describe it.
Bordeaux barnyard. That's cool. And that ingredient is?
Nutmeg.
Of course it's nutmeg.
Take a little piece of nutmeg and chew on it. So
That
nutmeg.
sounds intense.
Nutmeg is intense.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not chewing on nutmeg.
It's one of these things that in a small amount is good for sleep and good for all that, but it can actually be very toxic if you take too much of it. Simply because it can, it has a compound called myostatine, which is...
Myostatine, another 25-cent word.
There it is. And myostatine is a compound that can cause hallucinations. If you enjoy too much of it, can cause organ failure. So...
Wow. I had no idea that you could get something like nutmeg in the grocery store. I used to know somebody who would like pile nutmeg into his coffee because you could get, kind of a high euphoric feeling from it. But I had no idea that it was toxic.
It doesn't have to be toxic if you do it in the right doses. But yeah, I just took a tiny little piece to taste there.
Right,
And
right.
it's very nice and it's fun. This is something we don't normally do during our experiences, is to actually taste the products as they come. So now we're going to move on to the third one,
Uh-huh.
which is cinnamon.
And so we're releasing the smells.
Releasing the smells, we'll take the top off. Smell that beautiful Ceylon cinnamon.
Ceylon. Oh, yeah. I like that.
So break a little piece off, Rosalina,
Okay.
and just take it between your two molars.
Grind in between.
Crunch it. Just
Uh-huh.
crunch it.
Crunch it.
Grind it. You notice there's a really kind of peppery cool thing you can deposit the rest of it into your cup.
It
There's a lot there.
kind of reminds me of Valentine Red Hots.
Me too, but do you taste the sweetness just
Yes.
caused by the cinnamon? Cinnamon perceives sweetness.
Why?
And, well, it's because it's got some weird complex polysaccharides in it that don't make your body think they're sugar, but they're actually sweet.
Yeah.
And what's fun about this is that adds some sugar to Sorel that we don't have to add in the form of sugar. Right, so Sorel's, I might consider it a little bit sweet, but it's not all as much sugar as any other liqueur I know.
Right.
We don't use much sugar.
I've never chewed cinnamon before.
Isn't that interesting?
No, that's
And
really interesting.
It burns your lip a little bit.
Yeah, I get that, but I get the flavor and the sweetness,
Right?
definitely. And I'm drinking Sorel in between.
Sorel.
All right, so what's the next one? That makes a different
That
sound.
was clove.
Oh, clove.
Rebel. Not that much of a base or a seed, more of a bean. It's more, take the lid off.
Yeah. This is
Oh my
what you
God.
put in your hams, and you cut them diagonally for Easter.
Right, and it looks delicious and it smells amazing.
Yeah.
And the clove gives Sorel a warmth. That's
Okay.
really what it does. A lot of people use allspice.
Right.
Jackie likes clove.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm using
So
clove.
we use clove.
Why would I use allspice? The man says use clove.
And then our final
Ginger.
ginger.
Super healthy. And by the way, I'll also, cloves you just don't need to chew on. That's like, it's just really woody and whatnot. We're going to taste a little piece of ginger after we smell it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Whoa, you smell the ginger?
I did.
That's crazy. And it's
aromatic.
very aromatic. And ginger ranges on the spectrum from being super earthy and like almost fishy and umami, very proteiny, to being very fruity, if you know what I mean.
I do
Like
know
when
what you mean.
smell
And you know what?
fresh
I've never tasted dry ginger like this, because when I think of ginger, I think of kind of the sweet characteristics that it gives off. And I think about like the pickled crunch that you might have with sushi.
Yeah.
But when I chewed a piece of this, I got earthy scents, and I don't have the sweet that you usually get from like that.
Right. That sweet pickled ginger, but also different gingers bring different things to the table. So that more Asian ginger is going to be more sweet and more sort of fruity.
Yeah.
And the African ginger, this is a Nigerian ginger.
Is that what this is?
Yep, it's going to be a lot more umami, a lot more protein. Taste a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to be really strong.
It was really strong. I got pepper off of that as well.
Pepper, but also really nice, sort of delicate, just heat.
I kind of lapped you. I got the heat too.
Yeah, it warms your palate.
So these 5 ingredients are the main botanicals in Sorel.
Right.
And then also there's a neutral base spirit.
So we use a very general corn, non-GMO, gluten-free, all that.
Non-GMO, gluten-free, neutral base spirit, and then the combination and the correct balance between these 5 botanicals end up in this bottle and in our glasses.
Exactly. And I'm super honored to have created, Jackie gave me the formula, but I've scaled the formula to create what we're drinking right now.
Uh-huh.
Rosalina. I'm really excited about it.
Well, Jack actually said earlier in our seminar that you bring such a complexity to his operation that allows him to scale to larger quantities than he was able to do before cooking in his kitchen.
That's it.
That's it.
He started in his kitchen, building teas out of literally botanicals and big tea bags of stuff, and we're saying, okay, that's great and that's awesome. And we love that connection to your agriculture to grandma's kitchen. And he actually started out back in 2012 when he launched Sorel the first time, making it in a big kettle that about 100 gallons, and
That's crazy.
heat the stuff and do it all himself, literally. And he'll tell you, and I think he'll like to hear me say this, that the first 30,000 bottles of Sorel were filled out of a lemonade pitcher. That he,
Oh my gracious! I can only imagine that vision of bottles everywhere,
oh my God! And then now,
and putting the tops on.
now we're brewing in a 250-gallon tank in at Laird's in New Jersey.
Right. And Laird's
Yeah.
is known for Applejack.
Yeah, they are.
Like they've been known for Applejack for generations, right?
I love Lisa to death. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I've had the pleasure to meet her at Tales last year.
That's what she's been working on is Jack for, her family's been doing that since 1860,
Right.
really. 1850, 1860. And, the thing that I would say that's so important to me about Sorel is, like, let's get it to a point where we can not use the botanicals themselves, but use the flavors that we extract ourselves from the botanicals to create something that can be scaled 1, 3, 5, and 10 times over. That's not only better in quality and in flavor, because we're not using whole spices and we're relying on spice sources and all that,
Right.
but that's also more affordable. Because what we're going to see as we do this is that it's more affordable.
You are a fascinating man, Hoby.
Thank you, Rosalina. You're a wonderful woman. I appreciate you, and I hope I delivered stuff that you wanted to hear. And I'm just kind of a nerd and a modest sort of chemist that just loves hanging out with people like you.
Thank you so much. You know what? I'm so delighted to have met you today because I've always enjoyed Sorel since I'd been introduced to it. But what you've given me is this like complexity of thought of how each of these ingredients dance with one another and end up in this bottle. And it's a great product.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Really, and what's funny about it, honestly, Rosalina, is that we're not using that much sugar. A lot of people think, oh, Sorel must be so sweet,
And there's no fruit in it.
There's no fruit.
There's no fruit.
There's no fruit. There's just a little bit of sugar. And what's adding most of our sugar is cinnamon. And we're just adding enough sugar to balance. You tasted the hibiscus earlier, how sour it was.
Yes,
right?
it is sour.
We've got to balance that with something. It's like when you make lemonade in your kitchen. You've got those sour lemons that you squeeze into the pitcher if you have the luxury of making it fresh. You got to add some sugar to it.
Right.
And then some ice. And that's all we're doing here.
It was such a joy to make your acquaintance today, to get to know you better, and to enjoy your company here on Perfect Cocktail Pursuits. I really appreciate your demonstration, and I enjoyed your seminar earlier today. We were blindfolded for that one, and I didn't realize how uncomfortable I was being blindfolded. Like, I would take my blindfold off in between tastings, but I think that the lesson in tasting in the dark had to do with facing that being uncomfortable and figuring out where things were on the table. That was a good lesson for me.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
was fun for me.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Well, look, this was a really cool experience to dissect the different ingredients that are in Sorel. I'd like to wrap this up by saying thank you so much for joining Perfect Cocktail Pursuits. My name is Rosalina Africano, and I'm your host. And I am with Dr. Hoby Wedler. And I am so delighted to keep your company. It was really a lot of fun to have a chat with you today, and I've learned a lot.
Well, I can't wait to hang out with you more, Rosalina. Thank you so much, and it's an honor to meet you.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Thank you for joining me for Perfect Cocktail Pursuits. If you enjoyed today's episode, let's connect. Like, follow, share,
I look forward to seeing you soon.